Thank you all for being here tonight for the Shelbourne Valley Plan Update webinar. We'll be here for roughly the next hour and a half, and we have a couple things we'll be working you through. Before we begin the presentation, it's important that we acknowledge the territories we're in. The District of Saanich lies within the territories of the Lekwungen people, represented by the Songhees and Esquimalt nations, and the Wasanich people, represented by the Sartlip, Pakwachin, Sayout, Sycam, and Malahat nations. The first people have been here since time immemorial, and their history in the area is long and rich. So for today's session, we're here for three kind of key things, is really to provide you an overview of the key changes in the updated Shelbourne Valley Plan. And for those of you that weren't familiar with the previous plan, provide a little bit of background on what it covers and what its aims are. To provide some space for you to answer questions, and then also to provide information on how you can further participate in the plan update process. There's three of us here from the District of Saanich to help work you through the day. Myself, Cameron Scott, Manager of Community Planning, and my colleagues, Joseph Abiola and Isabel Todorova. Joseph will be giving you the primary project overview, as he's the lead of the Shelbourne Valley Plan, and all three of us will be available to answer questions at the end. So a couple things to note. The meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the project website for future reference. You can join the meeting through an anonymous name if your confidentiality is a concern. For the presentation portion and the initial Q&A, microphones and cameras will be disabled. So we request that you put your questions in the question and answer box. However, at the end of towards the end of the session, there'll be an opportunity for you to turn on your cameras and unmute your microphone if you so choose, and we can engage in a bit of a discussion. So yeah, and just to note that discussion portion wouldn't be part of the recording on the website. So for the presentation, and as you are listening to the presentation, any questions that come up that you'd like staff to address initially, we ask that you put it into the Q&A feature. So for most desktop computers, it's at the very top there. So you click on that and it will pop up. You can type in your question and hit ask. And there is an option to post anonymously if you so choose. And just a reminder for the particularly for the end part where there is a bit of a discussion, and also the questions you ask, that the District of Saanich is a respectful workplace. So we just ask that you engage in a respectful and courteous way with staff and with your other participants. Certainly there may be strong feelings about certain elements of the plan, which is fine. Just important to provide that space to listen to everyone's perspectives, and also not put down things that people are saying, and provide that comfortable environment. So that's something that we'll be monitoring. I don't anticipate it being a problem, but there is the potential of ending the meeting early if things get out of hand, but I don't anticipate that. So I see a hand raised. We'll kind of get to that at the end there. If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat, and if it's something about the procedures of this meeting, we will answer it in the chat. If it's a more substantial question related to the content of the plan, we'll address those all in sequence after the presentation. So now I'll turn it over to Joseph Abiola, who will give you the Shelbourne Valley Plan overview.
Thanks, Cam, and good evening, everyone. Tonight, I'll provide an overview of the Shelbourne Valley Action Plan update. So my presentation cuts across the background of the Shelbourne Valley Action Plan, the Phase 2 engagement summary, the draft updated plan as it is in 2025, and the next steps, as well as opportunities for discussion. The background. So the Shelbourne Valley Action Plan was originally adopted in 2017, and it is meant to guide land use and transportation decisions over the next 30 years. In addition to land use and transportation, the plan also addresses the environment, climate, housing, community vibrancy, and sense of place. Key outcomes of the 2017 plan after over 8 years of its implementation include the approval of over 1,700 new housing units in the area, and that resulted in over 3.5 million in community amenity contribution to support things like affordable housing, public realm improvements, among others. Another key outcome of the 2017 plan is the Shelbourne Street Improvement Project, which is a multi-year project featuring road improvements, pedestrian, cycling, and transit infrastructure installation and upgrades, safety enhancements, among other underground infrastructure upgrades or replacements to improve public safety, public realm, and overall experience along the Shelbourne Street. The Shelbourne Street Improvement Project is currently in its third phase, and it is scheduled for completion in 2026. It is important to mention that the Shelbourne Street Improvement Project is outside the scope of this plan update. So why are we updating the plan? The plan area for the Shelbourne, the plan area for the Shelbourne Valley plan is approximately 4 kilometers from Telma Place to North Dairy Road, and it encompasses properties roughly around 500 meters on both sides of Shelbourne Street. So the area accounts for about 27% of Saanich primary growth areas and 7% of the urban containment boundary. Notable landmarks in and around the planned area include Montolmi, Cedar Hill Golf Course, Lambrick Park, Camosun College, the University of Victoria, among several commercial hubs at major intersection along Shelbourne Street. So Shelbourne Street serves as a primary transport corridor that connects Saanich to the city of Victoria and other surrounding areas in the plan area. So furthermore, the plan area overlaps the Codra McKinsey plan, which is another ongoing center corridor and village plan in Saanich, around the intersection of Shelbourne Street and McKinsey Avenue. Codra McKinsey plan takes precedence where the two plans overlap, and therefore detailed guidance for land use in this area is provided in the Codra McKinsey plan. We encourage you to also participate in the Codra McKinsey planning process. I'll move on to explain why we are updating the plan. There are several factors that inform the updates to the Shelbourne Valley plan. First is the adoption of a new official community plan in May 2023, and this plan provides a framework for land use in the district of Saanich. The official community plan outlines some new objectives for land use, and that includes expanding housing density in neighborhoods, making Saanich a 15-minute community, maintaining the urban containment boundary, and focusing most of the new developments in the primary growth areas. So the primary growth areas are envisioned to be vibrant centers and villages that serve urban and local needs. They are connected by fully designed corridors that will support multimodal transit. So the broader vision of the official community plan for primary growth areas is detailed and implemented through the center corridor and village plans. So the center corridor and village plans promote compact development and provide opportunities for a full range of housing options, a variety of employment and commercial spaces, essential services and amenities, parks and open spaces within proximity. This approach to planning and development will help to reduce dependency on automobiles, which is a major contributor to greenhouse gas emission in Saanich. This development approach also supports the local economy to enhance social well-being and advance environmental sustainability in Saanich. So the Shelbourne Valley Plan is one of the 7 center corridor and village plans through which the official community plan objective is being implemented. So other center corridor and village plans in Saanich include the Codra McKinsey plan, which is currently ongoing, as well as a Telecom Bonside plan, which is also ongoing as well. The Hopetown Douglas plan is another CCV plan that has been completed, and the Royal Oak Broadmead plan is another one that will be initiated later in the year 2026. In addition to the official community plan, Saanich has adopted other plans and strategies that should be considered in the Shelbourne Valley Plan to ensure alignment. And this includes the active transportation plan, the biodiversity conservation strategy, urban forest strategy, among several others. And lastly, the population in the Shelbourne Valley has increased since the late 2000s when the initial planning process for the Shelbourne Valley was initiated. So the disproportionate increase in population compared to housing supply across the districts is revealed in the recent housing need report, which highlights the need for over 12,000 new housing units by the year 2041. And besides the currently predominant single-family housing in the area, future housing needs to address affordability as well as opportunities for rental, houses and living spaces for people living with disability, as well as residential opportunities for seniors, individual households, and the homeless. So this is another reason why the update to the Shelbourne Valley Plan is currently taking place. So far in the process, which started in September 2024, following the approval of the terms of reference by council after a committee of the whole meeting, staff engaged the public in phase 2, and that was in fall of 2024. We received several feedback during that process, which I will summarize in the subsequent slide. And following phase 2 engagement, staff prepared the draft plan, incorporating the input received during that engagement, among other analysis and review completed by staff. The draft plan is now available for public review, and this is one of the opportunities to present this plan to the public and also to receive feedback. A summary of the engagement that took place in fall last year. So the fall engagement featured 2 webinar sessions online, just like this one, as well as 2 open house events and an online survey that was open for about a month to receive feedback from the public. We received 77 responses to the survey, and over 300 persons participated in both the online and in-person events. The participants were residents, property owners, commercial users of the area, among several other people that visit the area either for recreation or education and other purposes. And the demographics of the participants range from the age of 20 up to those above 65 years. Among the several things that we had, some of the concerns raised include that there is limited housing options and affordability challenges in the area. We also received limited support for high-rise development, and we received suggestions to have more open areas and open spaces as well as parks to support social well-being in the area. There's also demand for more commercial spaces, and there's some reasonable appetite to increase the village footprints that is in Feltham Village on the northern segments of the plan in order to create more opportunities for local commercial activities as well as employment. So all of this feedback were received, as well as other concerns raised on transportation and infrastructure upgrade that is currently going on through the Shelbourne Street Improvement Project. The challenges that is associated with the implementation of that project were also kind of mentioned in the course of that engagement, and we took all of that feedback. The ones for planning, we addressed them, and we also reached out to our engineering departments to follow up on other specific concerns. I'll proceed to present the changes that have been implemented in the draft updated plan that is available to the public. The original vision and goals in the 2017 Shelbourne Valley Action Plan were retained in the updated plan, with the addition of a new goal to better align with the official community plan's land use objectives. And the new goal that is added to this updated plan is to increase housing and employment density within walking distance of the frequent transit corridor. The updated plan also contains a more up-to-date context, demographic data, including census data. For consistency with the naming convention of other center corridor and village plans in Saanich, the plan is renamed as the Shelbourne Valley Plan. Also, there is minor adjustment to the overall plan structure to better align with the official community plan, as well as other center corridor and village plans in Saanich. In terms of the overall structure and of the plan and the way the plan chapters are organized, it begins with an overview, followed by the planning context, then the vision and goals, climate change and environment, and the fifth chapter is the land use chapter, followed by transportation and mobility in chapter 6, and urban design and accessibility in chapter 7, and finally concluding with the implementation chapter, that is chapter 8. The plan boundaries have also been revised compared to what we have in 2017. So in 2017, the boundaries of the plan area, including the extent of the village and the centers, were delineated with conceptual lines and circles, as you can see on the map to the left. However, through the updates, these boundaries have been revised and clearly mapped to align with existing roads and property lines, as well as other notable features in the area. So this mapping approach is also in line with Saanich's recent practice in terms of planning in the overall district. The overall boundary of the plan following this boundary revision has reduced compared to what we have in the 2017 plan. Another key change here is the area, is the land use designations in the plan. So although is the Shelbourne Valley, Shelbourne Mackenzie Center, which was formerly the University Center in the plan. And although this area is within the overall boundary of the Shelbourne Valley plan, detailed land use direction for the Shelbourne Mackenzie Center, which is formerly referred to as the University Center, is now addressed in the Codra Mackenzie plan that is currently available to the public for review as well. The land use designations and policies in the Shelbourne Mackenzie Center will support mixed-use development up to 18 stories, featuring parks, open spaces, improved transit, and enhanced active transportation connections. And planning for the Shelbourne Mackenzie Center and the overall Codra Mackenzie plan area is ongoing, and you're encouraged to visit the project website to lend your voice to that process as well. For land use in the updated plan now aligns better with the future land use designations in the official community plan. As we might already know, the official community plan provides the overall land use framework for the district, and it has aligned several potential designation for the areas that are covered in the Shelbourne Valley plan. So being a center corridor and village plan, this updated plan now provide a more detailed designation for land uses in that area. And while land use in the 2017 action plan include only mixed use apartment, townhouse, and institutional uses, the updated plan introduces additional future land use options to support diverse housing supply, commercial and employment opportunities, community amenities, and infrastructure upgrades within a limited area. That is, that to achieve that compact development approach. The properties, with all the properties in the updated plan, have now been assigned a future land use designation. And that is unlike the 2017 plan, where the land use designation was limited to majorly properties within the first block on both sides of Shelbourne Street and around the centers. The updated plan also include additional policies to address the unique character of each center, corridor, and village, and it's identified some sites for special consideration. I will discuss further on those sites as I move into the various sub-areas. So this slide provides us an overview of what the development types will be in the various geographies that have been mapped in the updated Shelbourne Valley plan. So we have the centers supporting commercial mixed-use development between 6 and 12 stories. The village is to feature mixed-use development as well, but serving local needs. That is, it's going to be a smaller scale compared to the type of development that we'll find in the centers. And the type of development there will range from between 5 and 6 stories. The corridor designation majorly along Shelbourne streets and near the centers is going to support development between 3 to 6 stories. Commercial is not mandated for this type of development. It's optional depending on the location and if commercial space is deemed fit to be incorporated in such a development. Um, then we have the apartment low rise with development from 3 to 4 story building. An example of that is what we have on North Dairy Road, as is shown on that picture. And that's the 5088 building. There's also the urban townhome category featuring development up to 3 stories, as well as the mixed institutional land use designation. This type designation is a site-specific designation. So the context of the development will determine what it will look like. And so applications for that involve an institutional site, which is predominantly where mixed institutional development will take place, will be treated on a case-by-case basis, and the eventual outcome will be as a result of the analysis of the application that comes in through the current and development planning process. On the slide, we have the detailed future land use designation for the area, and the map is, tilted a little bit for us to benefit from the size of the screen. The northern end of the planning area is on the right-hand side, and that's where we have Feltham Village, and the southern segments of the planned area is on the left-hand side where we have Hillside Center. So if we exclude the area that is currently covered by the Cordra McKinsey plan, and that is the gray area with the arrow pointing to the detailed land use of that area on the right. Excluding that area, the intersection between Shelbourne Street and Cedar Hill Crossroad is where the center land use designation in the Shelbourne Valley Plan is concentrated, and that is the areas that are colored red on the map. So the corridor land use designation is predominantly along Shelbourne Street, and that is the one that these are the designations that are colored blue on the map. And the proposed density and building height continue to trickle down as we move further away from Shelbourne Street into the neighborhoods. So in addition to assigning a future land use designation to all properties in the plan area, the updated plan identifies certain properties with unique characteristics, assets, or challenges. A few of the sites, particularly in the centers, are large properties with potential to advance multiple plan objectives. Many of them are constrained by the Balco Creek, either as an underground or above ground feature, and while others are limited by municipal infrastructure running through them, which reduce their potential for redevelopment. So for these sites, they are shown on the map with a hatch sign to indicate that they are special sites, and additional policies were provided to guide the redevelopments when application come in the future. The first sub-area in the plan is a Feltham Village, which is the northern gateway of the planned area. This area currently offers limited spaces for commercial activities and services at the intersection of Torquay Drive and Shelbourne Street. And while the overall village boundary have generally reduced through these updates, the footprint of the village designation, that is the purple area on the map, is extended slightly to provide more opportunities for new mixed-use developments featuring commercial on the ground floor and residential above. And this is also in line with the feedback that we received in phase 2 during the engagement. The plan also seeks to improve east-west connection in this area, as well as better linkage to Landbrick Park, which we can see on the upper right-hand corner of the map. The new corridor designation that have been introduced will increase housing supply near frequent transit, in addition to spaces for shops as well as services to serve the local needs in this area. In the Shelbourne Valley Center, which is located at the intersection of Cedar Hill Cross Road and Shelbourne Street. This area is the commercial hub of the planning area. And the new future land use designations and policies that have been introduced in this plan will support more businesses, housing, as well as community amenities that is needed to transform the area into a fully integrated urban center that is attractive for both residents and visitors. And within the Shelbourne Valley Center, three special sites were identified, and I will discuss them in the subsequent slide. The first site is the Ivory House, and this property have the potential to achieve multiple plan objectives. In the plan, it is designated as a corridor, and it therefore will support between 3 to 6 story building development in the if redevelopment is to occur on the site. And some of the key outcomes that we intend to, well, we look forward to, achieve through redevelopment of this property is the opportunity to enhance the Balco Creek Greenway as well as daylight the creek. There's opportunity for stormwater management and detention on the site, as well as preserving rental in terms of the tenure, availability, affordability, as well as the amount of rental units on this property. The property will also be considered for additional story near Shelbourne Street, where non-market housing is provided. And this is in a bid to also kind of meet our housing need in the district. Detailed guidance for land use for this particular site is provided in the plan document, specifically in policy 5.2.6. For the Shelbourne Plaza, which is another site that has been designated as a special site. So the land use designation for this property is a center, and that designation support between 6 and 12-story developments. So this property has been identified due to its potential to support diverse commercial spaces and housing options, as well as community amenities like daycare and cultural centers. So when application is being considered for this site, we will give priority to, consideration for opportunity to acquire more open spaces as well as public realm improvements within the center. And as we all know, the Pada area currently has a limited amount of open space as well as tree canopy. So these have been prioritized on this site, and it provides the opportunity to, acquire some spaces for us to achieve that public realm improvement when redevelopments take place on the site. There's also opportunity to daylight the Barker Creek on this property, as the creek currently runs underground. There's opportunity for stormwater management, as well as mid-block connection for pedestrians and cyclists. And in situations where significant amenities or larger public open spaces are provided, then we may consider up to 18 stories on this property in order to achieve that community amenity. The third site within the Shelbourne Valley Center that is designated as a special site is a Fraser Tolmie apartment, and it's currently a rental housing as well. There's opportunity to preserve rental on this property, as well as managing stormwater and ecological conservation. There will be consideration for improved connection and access to both pedestrian and vehicle, particularly at the intersection of Richmond, Poplar, and Cedar Hill Road, Cedar Hill Cross Road, as well as opportunity for more small open spaces to be integrated with the site. Currently, it's designated as a corridor, and it supports between 3 to 6-story development. Moving down south is the Hillside Center, and around it is the Shelbourne corridor sub-area. So the Hillside Center is a southern gateway of the valley, with major access on North Dairy as well as on Shelbourne Street. So the area benefits from various commercial and other services in Hillside Town Center of the city of Victoria. So even though the center designation, as we can see on the map, that is the red portion of the map, is a bit limited, that area is benefiting from the various commercial opportunities that is offered on the southern segment, that is on the Victoria side of this planning area. So we can consider that area as in our mind as another additional red segment where the commercial opportunities, employment spaces, among others, will be provided. So the center is a starting point of the Shelbourne corridor in Saanich, and it's kind of the linkage and that corridor is what connects the Hillside Center to other center in the planned area, as well as the Feltham village up north. So Hillside Center has been minimally expanded to accommodate more developments near the city of Victoria's commercial center, that is the Hillside Shopping Center, as well as most of the special sites that have been identified here are particularly, impacted by the Balco Creek, either as a piped or an open natural feature. And I'll proceed to discuss those sites in details. So the special sites, like I mentioned, that we identified in the Hillside Center is a collection of properties between Witherby Road on the west and Browning Street on the east. And most of these sites are directly impacted by the Balco Creek, as earlier mentioned. As a result, we will need to consider a modified development approach in order to meet the provincial as well as Saanich environmental guidelines on this property. Some of the potential approaches that the draft plan have outlined include land assemblies with creek-friendly design that support Balco Creek health, as well as riparian zone enhancements. There is also opportunity to limit development within the existing footprints of buildings that are currently there now, where such land assemblies cannot be achieved. And for special site SS10, which is along Shelley Street, there is opportunity to consolidate with special site SS11 that is fronting North Dairy. And this is encouraged in order to allow for a more comprehensive planning when redevelopment is to take place. And such an assembly will provide opportunity to continue to daylight the creek on the portion of SS11 where the creek is currently piped, and also provides opportunities to improve the riparian area. And that's if such a site is also developed, there is opportunity for introduction of new multi-unit housing of diverse forms, as well as achieving and as well as different tenure and affordability levels. And that particular area, that is the Hillside Center, has also been mapped as one of the areas where we have low tree equity within the Shelbourne Valley Plan area. As a result, there is priority to increase tree canopy cover on this site if it were to redevelop. So these are some of the guidelines that the special site policies have provided to inform land use changes on these properties in the future. Some other special sites were identified along the Shelbourne corridor, and these sites were equally impacted by the Balco Creek as well as underground municipal infrastructure. So these sites are considered for reduced setback and road dedication, as the case may be, to address existing underground infrastructure constraints. There's also consideration for additional density or height, in order to facilitate land assemblies and advance the Balco Creek daylighting on these properties. So besides the land use designations, policy changes relating to land use, other aspects of the plan were also revised, and part of it includes the climate change and environment section. So the updated plan now aligns with the strategies, guidelines, actions, and directions in the Saanich environmental policy framework. And this includes the climate plan, the biodiversity conservation strategy, as well as the urban forest strategy. The draft updated plan features a new climate planning section that incorporates the CRD extreme heat data and policies to advance sustainability and resiliency in the area. Also, building on the urban forest strategy, the tree equity score for the plan area has been mapped and incorporated into policies for urban forest expansion. An example of that is what we find on the special sites that I spoke about earlier, that is located in the Hillside Center. Likewise, there is a new map of biodiversity ranking for the plan area with policies for ecological restoration as well. And in addition to the to Saanich environmental policy framework, the updated plan incorporated principles and actions that we identified in the ongoing Barker Creek Blueprint updates, focusing on restoration and riparian zone enhancements. With regards to transportation and mobility, the updated plan reflects current data on transportation and mobility in the area and aligns with Saanich mobility priority pyramid as well as the active transportation plan. The updated plan also includes update on status of the Shelbourne Street Improvement Project while not making any change to the approved design and work plan for this project. Other aspects of the plan that has been improved include the urban design and accessibility section, which now make much reference to the district-wide development permit area guideline that was adopted recently in the year 2024. The implementation and monitoring section have also been updated to reflect completed ongoing as well as identify new priority actions for the plan area. The heritage section has also been updated to strengthen indigenous reconciliation elements. So that is how far we've gone in terms of updating the plan. The next slide will provide information on how you can participate and lend your voices to this plan and be a part of the review and refinement phase. So the phase 4 of this planning process is to review this draft plan and to refine it before it goes to council in the later stages. So in phase 4, there are several opportunities for the public to engage, including an online survey that is currently live and available until October 20, 2025. The survey was initially stated to close on October 13, and if you have received some of our flyers, you will notice that the date on that flyer says October 13. But following feedback received from the public, we have extended the deadline for the survey till October 20. We are currently holding the second webinar, and next week we would have two open house events. So the first event will take place on October 2nd at Gordon Head Recreation Center at 4 p.m. And the second event will be on Saturday at the Cedar Hill Recreation Center, and that one will start at 12 p.m. There will also be several pop-up events in the community where we have the opportunity to interact with members of the public and inform them about the plan as well as receive their feedback. All information about the plan and how to engage is available on the project website, saanich.ca/svp. And you can also scan the QR code on the screen to directly get to the project website. So following phase 4 engagement, staff will revise this first draft of the plan and prepare an updated version, which will be proposed to council. Council will then receive this proposed plan, review it, schedule a public hearing, and make decision on the proposed plan. So that is a council process that will take place in phase 5, and we are shooting for the winter of 2026 for that to happen.